In this video, we're going to show you how to take your headlights from this to this. Now, you can have the best paintwork in the world, but if your headlights are clouded over in yellow, your car's going to look used and tired. In addition, your light output's also going to be reduced. Now, this process is quite easy and doesn't require any specialist equipment. In fact, you might already have the bits lying about. In addition, it's much cheaper than buying a specialist kit, and the results are just as good. Before we look at the supplies, let's quickly understand what we're doing and why the headlights cloud over. When the headlight was new, it had a layer of UV protection on the surface. Over time, UV rays and oxygen wear this protection down and eventually turn the plastic a cloudy yellow colour. We're going to cut through the damaged plastic and expose the fresh, new clean plastic below it. Alright guys, let's go and take a quick look at all the equipment we're going to be using. First thing we need is some bodywork shampoo. I'd rather use this than washing up liquid because it won't cut through any protection in the paint. And all we're going to do is mix it in a little spray bottle with some warm water, just enough to keep the surface of the car lubricated that we're working on. Secondly, we're going to need some sandpaper. Now I've got a few different grits here. We start off with an 800 grit sandpaper. We're going to then go to a 1200 grit. And then finally, we're going to finish off with a 2000 grit. Now, the higher the number, the finer the sandpaper. So this one is very, very smooth to the touch of 2000 grit, which you'll feel that the 800 grit is a lot rougher. You don't want to go too rough, so don't think of using a 60 grit or an 80 grit or 120. It'll cause too much damage to the headlight and you won't be able to get it back. So my advice is start off with an 800 grit. If the car's really, really bad, maybe try 600 grit, but don't go below that. In addition to the sandpaper, we're going to also need some polishing cloths, because the next stage we're going to use is a T-cut. And the T-cut is going to work almost like the sandpaper, but finer again than the 2000 grit. And again with the polish again, that's going to be used after the T-cut. And then finally we finish off with a layer of wax, which will seal the paintwork and give it that shine. So let's get started with the first step. We're going to have to use 800 grit and we're going to get rid of all the damage on the headlights. Now, the two ways you can go about this. The first thing you can do is leave the headlight on the car or take the headlight out. Depends on how hard it is to take out your car, depends on what method you're going to use. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to actually leave the headlight into the car, even though they are very easy to take out of these, because this is the harder method to do, so I'd rather show you this with some more precautions to take. And one thing I like to do when doing this job is actually turn the engine on and turn your headlights onto the full beam, because what this is going to do is going to get some heat into the lens and just make that plastic a little bit softer. But for this video I'm not going to do that, mainly because the engine's fairly loud on the car and for purposes of you hearing me, it will kind of make it hard. So we'll do this with the headlights off for now. Okay. Right, so we're going to start off with the 800 grit sandpaper. Now I've just cut some of it off the roll and I just filled it up into a nice little square. And we get our car shampoo and our water. And we're just going to have to wet the surface of where we are. Sprays wet like that. And we're also going to wet the sandpaper as well. It's called wet and dry sandpaper, and if you keep it wet, it'll lubricate it and makes it much easier to get off. And then we're just going to go in circular motions. And this is going to put little scratches into the lens itself, but that's okay. That's what we want to do at this point, because it's getting rid of all the oxidization as you're doing it. And you're going to see lots of white gunk running off the car, but that's fine. That's just the old plastic running off, and that's what we want to see at this point. We only need to put medium pressure, even a light pressure even onto the lens. We don't want to put too much and we don't want to scar the lens. And these light scratches we're going to correct in the next stages coming up. So keep the surface very, very wet. Keep it just going in circular motions and do the entire light. After we're done going in circular motions, I like to go horizontally because this puts straight scratches into the light, which are easy to remove with the finer grit in the next step. Okay, that's our first step done with the 800 grit sandpaper. As you can see, the light is a lot less yellow at this point, although you see it's significantly clouded over. And that's fine. That's what we're going to do in the next steps, is erase that damage that the 800 grit sandpaper caused. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is get our 1200 grit sandpaper and do the exact same process again. And the goal of this, what's going to do, it's going to be able to get through the scratches that the 800 grits caused and erase them. But in turn, the 1200 grit's going to leave some finer scratches of its own, and that's when we move to the 2000 later on. So we just have to keep going up different grits, making them smoother and smoother, and eventually we get all the scratches out and we have to seal it with a layer of wax. So exact same process again, all over the lights. Right, we're done with the 1200 grit, and the light should be looking a little bit clearer now. It's still clouded over, that's fine. I'm going to go 2000 grit, do the exact same process again. Alright, so we've finished through our sanding process, and you can see now that the light's starting to become a lot clearer. It's still not as clear as we need it, it's still got haze over it. But look, there's no yellow to the lens. And the last few steps we're going to do is really going to get this shine up and the clarity to it. So next we're going to go on to normal car polishing compounds. I'm going to use normal T-cut, because this is going to be a finer grit again than what the 2000 grit sandpaper is, and it will make the light a bit clearer, and it'll still have some scratches and some haze after it. We'll get that again with the polish. So give it a good shake up. Get on the cloth. Just apply some to the cloth like that. Oops. Bit too much that I did there, but never mind. I'm just start rubbing it in circular motion, just like the sandpaper, and the light should start coming up even better. These last couple of stages is where the clarity really shines through, but because it's not as abrasive, you need to really work it in. If you don't get the result you need first time, just repeat the step again and the clarity will shine through eventually. Alright guys, look at this already. Now the light's starting to really look like new. It's still got a slight haze to it, but looks miles better, and the T-cut did a really good job of it. The next thing I'm going to do is go into natural, just normal car polish. Exact same process as the T-cut, just shake it up, apply it to the cloth, and away you go. Alright, this light is looking absolutely fantastic. You can see now on the camera, most probably looks absolutely brand new. We've got the final step now, the wax, and what the wax is going to do, it's going to actually blend in those absolute microscopic scratches that are still on there, and add the final definition of clarity to the lens. And it's also going to protect it against any oxygen or ultraviolet rays that are going to hit the light, and it'll stop the light going back to yellow very, very quickly. So your wax is very important to apply. It's the most important step of the process, because that's going to keep the light looking like brand new. Alright, so with the wax, we're going to use the exact same wax we did on the deep clean of the car, the Autoglim high definition wax. The paste wax, so it's a bit thicker than a liquid wax, and this should seal in the gaps better and last longer as well, crucially. Now, if you don't have this type of wax, something like a liquid wax like this will do the job. Don't get me wrong, it will do good results. Just not as good as a solid paste wax. Follow the instructions for the wax and just apply it like you would on paintwork. In this case, you just need to get a damp applicator pad and get some on the cloth. And obviously this weather today is absolutely horrible, so I'm having to keep drying the lights. We're in between processes. We're holding an umbrella above them. So I'm going to have to dry the lights off again. And I'll just apply it in a nice circular motion. Alright guys, when you look at this, I am absolutely made up with the results. It looks fantastic. The headlight looks almost like brand new, and you must have saved yourself, 50-60 quid from buying a new one. All with about 20 minutes worth of work, and the results are really, really good now. The headlight's going to be much brighter, the car looks so much better. So we've taken it from this all the way to this, and the car looks absolutely amazing. These headlights look like brand new. The cloud seats back there, they're going to shine brighter, and it's took years off the car. And crucially, it's going to add quite a bit of value back into the car, all for the cost of a couple of pounds and 20 minutes work. Alright guys, so if this video has been useful to you, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. For more videos like this in the future, just stay tuned, and I'll be posting these videos every single week. Thanks for watching, take care.